Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are starting or restarting an interview segment that I've been wanting to rebuild on the channel for quite some time, where we talk with other people who have similar perspectives and interests that we all share. And today I have the special pleasure of introducing somebody that I have considered a friend for many years now. He's also part of a bigger studio idea, one that I'm going to try to mimic when I get to Tennessee. And he's just all around a good guy, but he's also got a new thing he's pursuing. He's going to be a full-time content creator, and it takes a lot of guts, and I want him to talk about that. So without further ado, one of my favorite gaming personas, my friend Dutch Butters. How are you doing?
Well, hello there, Culture. How are you?
I'm spectacular. I'm glad you're here. Look, you and I, we talk a little bit to and fro about various things, but the thing I want to start with is that you've got a new vocation.
I do.
So yeah. After years of living with and working in Las Vegas and everything that comes with it, you've decided, hey, I'm going to do this, and I think that's amazing. So you want to tell people what's inspired you to go full-time content creator?
Yeah, well, I was in the casino world for 30 plus years, and finally, it just kind of got all caught up with me, and my health issues and my disdain for the industry kind of all caught up together at the same time. And basically, what happened was I got fired a little bit earlier than I had planned on. No, everything was okay, and then I had some health issues kind of creep up, and my doctor put me on some meds that were just really messing me up, and it was affecting my job. I couldn't function properly, and I think they just kind of got tired of me, and they did some things. Anyway, I don't have a job in the casino industry anymore, and that's okay, and that's fine. I was planning on doing what we're doing now already, but I was planning on doing it 6 months to a year ahead of where we are now. So I had to move up my timeline, basically. And the channel honestly wasn't exactly ready. We didn't have the subs where we wanted. We didn't have the views where we wanted to be able to just transition over from, the punching the clock for the man to working for ourselves, for myself over here. But, circumstances be what they are. I just decided to do it. I told the wife, I go, look, this is what I want to do. We're going to try to supplement it with a little bit of work from the studio with Kadish and Salty, and that's what we're doing right now. So we're playing games on the Dutch Butters gaming channel. We're doing shorts, we're doing live streams, we're doing podcasts. Salty is my partner in this thing. He's my business manager, my producer, my editor, and I'm the front of the camera guy, and he actually on the podcast he does the hosting duties, and I kind of like what me and Kadish did with the Salty Saturday thing. But but we talk about games. We have 2 dedicated shows a week that's dedicated to games in particular. Like right now, it's Helldivers and Arc Raiders, and then we have another show which we released on Friday. It's called the Weekend Respawn, which is kind of a if it touches video games, we can talk about it. So it could be movies, it could be TVs, it could be comic books, it can be video games, whatever, websites. It doesn't matter. If it's something we want to talk about, we talk about it, as long as it's part of a video game franchise out there. So that's what we're doing.
That sounds perfect, and it definitely fits, the direction you were headed anyway. Because I have some knowledge of what was going on with Salty Saturdays and everything else, and I have to say I missed the show. I miss you guys. I loved that Saturday show that you all used to do. But I understand, it was time to move forward. And let me ask you, how are you finding content creation as a profession?
Dude, it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work. I knew it was going to be a lot of work, and with the stuff that gets done down at the the Las Vegas Podcaster Studios is the business that we have down there. Quick little plug. Matt is down there, and he's there 15 hours a day, busy the whole time. And now that Salty is there full time, he's there 10, 12 hours a day. And pretty soon, hopefully I'll be there 10, 12 hours a day as well.
Wow.
And we have a couple other guys that are doing some contract work with us and everything down there. So the business is getting busy. It's really fun and cool to watch it grow. We're expanding right now. We're building 2, 3 new studios in the building. When you come back, you're going to be really shocked at how much things are changing and growing down there. And it's just been a really fun, cool thing to do. Salty and I were out down there till 10 o'clock last night painting walls and and putting up insulation and soundproofing and in the new we call it the Dutch Butter Studio, but it's going to be it's going to be a gaming themed studio that we're going to be producing a lot of our content out of, and that's also going to be available for people to come in and rent that space when we're not using it. So
that's amazing. It's amazing. And for those of you that don't know, the studio location, and it does have multiple rooms, has one of my favorite rooms in it, which is adjacent to, I guess, what the green room is or whatever, the multi-purpose room. But that studio is a perfect interview setup. Two chairs and amazing lighting and a chance to be professionally engineered in that room to produce your show. So if you're a content creator that's traveling, I would check with these guys if you're going to happen to be in Vegas, because I can recall no better experience than being in those studios. So there's that.
Yeah, it's really
my plug.
It's really been kind of fun because, when we first moved in there like 3-4 years ago, it was just the 2 rooms, the table studio and the editing bay, which we all kind of hung out in. And now the joke is we're going to take over the entire building because it's this big office building. It's not big, but there's probably 12 offices in this building. It's a part of this bigger strip mall kind of area, and it's insurance offices, and there's a doctor's office, and a sushi restaurant around the corner, all this kind of stuff. But our goal is to take over the entire building that we're in over time. And we're going to work. We've got stuff designated for every single room. It's like we're going to make that the LAN room. We're going to put like 4 studios over there, and they're all going to have different themes. And anyway, it's a pipe dream, but it's slowly coming to fruition. It's really kind of fun to watch it go. So
I think you have the perfect set of personalities to make that succeed. It's amazing if you know these guys. I mean, it seriously, Matt and Alex and everybody that's involved. I love it. So let's do this. Let's do this. So now that you are a full-time creator out of not just necessity, but out of a plan, right? Just a little earlier than you thought. What's like central to you starting, like, to figure out what your content's going to be? What's central? Is it just the games you're interested in, or, outside of the planned shows you talked about, what is it?
I kind of stick to a third-person kind of shooter combat style of game. Helldivers was the big game that we started the channel with. We got lucky and hit the algorithm really, really quick and easy with a lot of the stuff that goes on in that game. That game is full of so many nonsense controversies and ups and downs that it was super easy to make some videos and some content that kind of like slipped in there. It was kind of on accident the first time because it was the whole Sony debacle where they cut off half the planet due to issues. And we made a podcast about that. And somehow it kind of like got in there and it got us monetized in like 2 weeks. Wow. And we got up to like 2,000 subs within the first month of the channel being open. Wow. So we got super lucky there. And but ever since then, we've just kind of like, it's just been on that kind of upward trajectory. We just hit 9,200 subs today, and we're quickly approaching that 10K mark, which
you're gonna catch me in a year. Holy cow!
It's weird. It's weird how it grows. Because you know how YouTube is. The algorithm. Yeah. If you get lucky and you catch it, and you try to like figure out all those little tricks and things that you got to do to ride that wave, and that's what YouTube's all about, is trying to figure out how to get something to go and get caught in that
the algorithm.
I can't even, I'm losing my words because I don't understand it all either, but I have good people around me that mentor and teach, and we learn a lot trying to figure it all out together. So
I would say that Matt really has it under control.
Yeah.
you know, and he understands virality in a way that I don't think very many people do.
It's really with this channel, it's really kind of funny because Matt, he's been kind of hands off. He'll answer our questions when we ask him to him. He's like, "Hey man, what do you think about this?" And he has no issues helping out. But he's letting me and Alex kind of like take the reins on this one. And I think he's doing it on purpose to see if we can figure this stuff out because, it's just really funny. But he's super busy, man. He doesn't have time to deal with our little video game channel as much as we think he does. But yeah, it's all good.
Well, all good. I have to tell you, I think it's great because I love watching your shorts. Your short work is fantastic. You and Salty on those shorts is incredible. And I think those are another way for you guys to go viral and gain ground. So if you guys are looking for something to watch out there and you got a couple minutes, go check out the shorts that are produced over on
there's two ways that we do the shorts. One of them is I have this thing in OBS where I just push a button and it clips the last 45 seconds. And then I can then I can turn that in and make a real quick short out of it. But the really good ones is we have a guy that works with the studio with us. He's been you've probably even met him. His name's Caleb, but I call him Igor. And he did some intern work with us for last probably 5 years. Wow. That when he was in school, and he was working with the Salty Nerd channel and stuff with us back in the day. And he takes a little bit of time out of his week, and he goes and he clips some shorts out of the pods for it and everything. And he's a professional editor. So again, I'm lucky I have a good crew around us that can take some time to go into the channel and do stuff like that. Because if it was just me, I would probably be living under the strip right now down in the pipes with all the other people that are have bad luck. So.
I would hope not, but
I would hope not too.
Yeah, no, I think you have too many people that care about you to let that happen. So look, the latest thing I caught from you guys, of course, is your conversations around this new pirate game that looks absolutely amazing to me. And we'll get back to talking about Arc Raiders and Helldivers here in a moment, but I want to talk about, it's called Windrose. Now, I know you've not really gotten into it. I do know that Salty has. Yeah. So what are your impressions of the game just so far?
I think it's going to be great. Steam did their Fan Fest thing a couple of weeks ago. It was when they released this demo. And, we just kind of found it on accident and on a lark, and Salty downloaded it and I downloaded it, and some of our players in our crew that we play with regularly downloaded it, and just instantly they all fell in love with it. Now I'm a guy, I don't play demos a whole lot. I have this really bad attitude about being an unpaid beta tester, and that's what I feel like a lot of these games do now these days with like these early access things and all this kind of stuff. And maybe that's just a Gen Xer in me or something. Maybe it's just my attitude, but I don't believe in getting paid to test something for free. And that's what I feel like beta tests are, especially when they have forms that they want you to fill out. What did you think of this? And what about that? And it's like, why don't you guys hire some game testers at your studio and figure this out for yourself? But I'm old fashioned. That's just how I am. And I don't like it. But the game itself was awesome. It played really well. There was not a lot of huge bugs in it or anything like that. And it's a pirate game. You basically start as a destitute pirate that you've been shipwrecked or laid out on a beach after your ship has been taken over, and you got rags and a half a sword and a blunderbuss with wet powder. And you have to start with nothing, and you end up gathering your things and building a house and finding a boat and meeting people, and you just go. And Salty just kind of went nuts with it. And he's probably at 30, 40 hours or so in it, because the 20-hour thing that you heard him say, that was 3 weeks ago. And they're playing it all the time, building entire villages on the beach, out of a demo that supposedly has 4 hours of content, and they're a week's worth of hours into this thing. It's pretty crazy. So
yeah, that is wild. But look, I mean, it sounds like that game is addictive in a way to personality types like mine, because I love to build things. I'll go back and play Fallout 4 because I want to build like the settlements, right? Because I'm crazy. Like I just go out and farm for stuff and build these massive settlements. And
this is Windrose is one of those. It's one of those survival type games where you have to go out and cut trees down and pick up vines, and then you use that stuff and you bind it together to make a wall for your hut, and then you got to get 10 walls to build a building. You got to put a roof on it, and it's a resource gathering survival game. And normally those kind of games are not really my thing, but there was something about this. There was enough action in it, there was enough fighting in it, and there was enough stuff in there to keep me entertained somewhat through the demo. And it's gonna be a really fun game. Like I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking to put in some time and hours into this thing when it gets released. I don't know when that's going to be because they just said, you got to give us time to let us cook this game up, guys. We're glad you're enjoying the demo, but it's going to be a lot more when it's done. So it's going to be fun.
Let me ask a question, because from my takeaway is this is an independent studio once again.
I believe
coming out with quality material. Do you think that independent studios are finally having their day?
They're definitely having a renaissance right now. With Embark doing Arc Raiders and Arrowhead blowing up with Helldivers, and there's other studios out there. They're taking it to these AAA studios. They're pricing their games at a point where we don't feel like we're getting ripped off if we don't get into the game after 10 12 hours. And these AAA studios, like the guys that make like Battlefield 6, they put $70 price tag on this game, and then they completely crap the bed with their customer support, and everybody just goes, no, I'm done, I'm not going to play your game anymore. And you can see the stuff like with what's that shooter, the game that just came out last week.
By Wildlight, the
Marathon came out, and everybody, it's a big AAA. Bungie, yeah. It's going to settle in on probably the 30,000 player range by the time it's done settling in after a couple more weeks. And it's sad, but it's just, an EA with Battlefield 6, that game, these games have their hardcore small fan bases, but it's nothing compared to these other games like Ark and everything that are just they're killing it, and they should these big studios need to look at these things and go, look, maybe some good customer service, maybe giving some of these fans what they're looking for, what they want, maybe they should listen, and that goes against what I said earlier about the beta test thing, but I want to buy a completed game. And I know these live service games are hard to do that because they're always evolving and changing and growing, and new content's getting put in. But they should be able to at least have stuff balanced somewhat with the weapons and the armor and all that kind of stuff before the game is released. And it's just not happening. So I don't know. It's weird.
Do you think that the debacle that happened with Concord, and then every game that was exactly Concord again, including this most recent one, like I mentioned, Wildlight, because that was an independent studio, but they spent big bucks producing High Guard, which was a catastrophic failure. I mean, I think it just ended in the last day or two. Its final day,
right?
And it lasted longer than Concord, but not by much.
Not by much.
Do you think we're at the end of the string of garbage?
I think people are coming around to the fact that we just don't want woke, ugly nonsense in our games. This is, I'm probably gonna get a little flack for this, but and I know there's a lot of women and girls out there that play game, but the gaming audience is 90% or more or higher guys. So when you're out there, when you release a game, and you're catering your game to an audience of 5% of the gaming audience, then you're not going to sell your games. That it's really easy. It's math. It's not hard to it's not complicated to figure out who you need to be making games for, and that's these guys that play video games. Men play video games. Women and men, we have different styles of things that we like to play. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there's no women gamers, because there absolutely is. I know,
for sure.
I know many, but it's like the Star Wars thing. Okay. They took a property for boys, 12-year-old boys, and they tried to turn it into a property for 10-year-old girls. And that's what they've been doing in the gaming world, except they've been inserting all their woke, ugly female with lesbian haircut nonsense into that stuff. And nobody wants to buy that crap. Nobody wants to play it, and nobody's spending their money on it. So it is what it is.
Well, so, and there is something to be said for the short-term distraction of a phone game, which is where a lot of the ladies find themselves on their phone playing.
My wife spends a half hour or so a day playing stupid Bejeweled Blitz or whatever the heck that game is. He's like level 745 and been playing it for 10 years. But
believe me, I understand that ladies like those things, and they also like things like Animal Crossing. So there's definitely like this development window for specifically, demographic based games. But the problem is that that's not the majority. Right. It's not the majority. So I think you've identified the problem, and I think the gaming companies have learned that they can't cater to that very small audience. It doesn't work, right?
I mean, some of them are still trying, but the smaller companies, I think they figured it out. They figured out that price range that we want to spend, and they're killing it right now. So.
Right now you're focused mostly, I think, on Arc Raiders.
Mostly on Arc Raiders, yeah.
What's your impression or takeaway from how that game launched and then proceeded forward very aggressively?
Well, I was actually a little disappointed before the game launched, because I thought they were going down that whole woke path with that pre-launch trailer that they introduced and all that kind of stuff. But it hadn't really gone that way. I mean, there's a very European influence on Arc Raiders. It's another Swedish studio, so you have to kind of expect that. And but we it's just kind of turned into a joke. It's been turned into a meme. The weird outfits that we have to wear in the game, and the ugly skins that we have. And it took them 5 months to put beards and facial hair in the game, so we were all running around like a bunch of soft-faced 12-year-olds. It was just weird. It was really funny. And but the gameplay for me took over any apprehension I had about that kind of stuff. This game, I wasn't expecting it, because I was a big World of Warcraft MMO player back in the day. I played that game I played it for almost 20 years, but for the last 5 years or so, it was just really spotty off and on. And but it scratches that weird itch that I didn't know I had. It's like, I like to go out there and collect things, and I'm a bit of a completionist. So I like to go out there, and do the things I need to do to get the rewards for the next patch that they're going to reward you with if you achieve certain goals, with the expedition and the different projects and everything that they have in the game for the PvE side of the game. The PvP side of the game, I don't even dabble with. I don't even mess around, because that's not how I like to play. I'm not a PvP player. If I want that kind of a game, I'll go play Call of Duty or something. But it has both styles have their place in the game. You just kind of keep it separated, and they have this thing in the game. It's like an aggression based algorithm that they supposedly separates player styles into different game lobbies. And on the solo games, it works for the most part. But on the duos and the trios, if you're going in there, you just have to expect to get shot at. But in the solo lobbies, it's really weird, because we can go in there. We have like dance parties, and everybody's trading stuff and getting along, and it's and working together. It's crazy, on that side of the Arc Raiders world. But but some of those memes are great of everybody kind of gathering together and tossing out stuff. It's very cool. Yeah. But what a lot of people don't understand about Arc Raiders is that, a lot of people's their only real exposure to it is watching guys like Burnt Peanut and stuff on Twitch and YouTube, and they do nothing but the PvP stuff, and that's fine, and it's entertaining, and you have to have the personalities behind you to do all that kind of stuff. But that's not what the focus of the game is or should be.
So I have to ask, and because I had a gaming channel for a short period of time where I would just play video games for fun, right? Yeah. But I have to ask, so what are you finding different from content creation as a commentator on things versus like the gaming side of the content creation.
Well, the hardest part about this game, or about having a channel, is you just have to treat it like a job. Basically, you have to set a schedule. You have to, it's like, okay, we're going to do 3 podcasts. We're going to do a short every day that's going to release at this time in this time zone, and I'm going to do 4 live game streams a week that are going to be from this time to this time. And you got to make sure you do all that. Otherwise you run short of the content. And then I do all that. Plus, sometimes I'm just at 10 o'clock at night, I just like, I think I'm just going to go play my game. And I don't really turn my computer on and then play a game without pushing the go live button. It's just what I do. If you go to my channel, you will see probably 98.5% of all the gaming that I've done in the last 2 years. If you think back far enough. So, and there's a few times I'll log on and just play some Mario or Pac-Man or something off stream, but most of the time I'm streaming when I'm in front of my computer playing games. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. You just got to treat it like a job. Because it is a job now. So
it is. And that's, I think, something that everybody needs to take to heart. You can do this as a hobby and it can be fun. But if you're looking at it to have channel growth and future earnings and success, it is your job. Eventually, if you're lucky, it becomes a full-time job. But I retired and started doing, more stuff because I had the time.
Right.
So I think that was beneficial. But finally, and just to wrap up, right now, what would you say is the hardest part of the content creation side of things? That you said you spend an enormous number of hours at the studio. You obviously spend an enormous number of hours at your home computer. What's the hardest part of all of it, just to make all the gears turn?
I think it's just probably finding a balance, which I'm still trying to find. You got to have a balance between work life and home life, and when I was punching a clock, the hardest part was just finding time to work on the channel, because you're there 8 hours a day. It takes an hour to get there. It takes an hour to get home. So 10 hours a day is devoted to the real life job. You have to sleep. So I had a really small window of time that I had to do what I wanted to do, and that made it very hard. And now I'm still trying to find that schedule that works perfect for me. I haven't been doing this very long still. It's only been about a month since I started doing this full time, and I'm still trying to find where everything needs to settle in. I'm trying to figure out how much time I need to spend playing games live in front of people. Some of these big streamers, they'll stream for 8, 9, 10 hours a day. But they also have huge teams behind them that make up all their other content. I don't. I have myself and 2 other guys, including Salty and Caleb, who they have other jobs that I don't have to be their priority. They're basically doing that out of the goodness of their heart to help me get going. And I have a lot to learn. I'm a 56-year-old guy who is not very technologically savvy, and learning all this stuff is crazy. I'm learning new things every single day. And it's like from making my thumbnails to using AI to do things to scheduling, and then there's the social media side, which I neglect terribly. I just forget to do it all the time. But you got to keep up on Twitter and Instagram, and you got to promote your channel. And I don't have a team to do that, not yet. If I was making 50 grand a month, it'd be different. If I had a channel that got 50,000 views or more per video, that would be a completely different story. But we got a long ways to go before we get there. So it's just a learning process. That's the hardest part, is just trying to figure out what I need to do, how much I need to stream. Because I read a lot of things like, you need to like stream 2 hours a day, for 4 days a week. And then you'll see another video that says you need to stream 6 hours a day for 5 days a week. And it's just like, okay, well, where do I settle in there at? I don't know. I'll figure it out. So,
well, I'm going to say this. I just hope for everybody's sake that is in our little group of humans, that you become as big as Asmongold.
Oh, that would be.
I would love for that to happen.
That would be really stressful, honestly.
No, you have a team of guys. You become the breadwinner for everybody else that supports you. Awesome. I think it's going to be great. Anyway, for those of you out there unfamiliar, this is my friend Dutch Butters at Dutch Butters Gaming. You want to definitely take a look at his channel and many others. The Salty Nerds are they still exist. They just aren't quite doing the same shows. So you want to follow them, and you want to follow Vegas Podcast Studios. And if you're ever in town, see if you can book an appointment to, you do your content there. It's well worth it. It's not cost prohibitive. Is that the best way to say it? It's not?
Sure. I think that's a good way to say it. It's Las Vegas Podcaster Studios.
Yeah. And they're great. So, and their competitors are going to charge you 10 times as much, it seems, at least in Vegas anyway. So with that, I'm just going to say, do you have anything final notes for anybody out there in the audience, or do you just want to promote yourself one more time?
I can promote myself one more time. That's easy. Dutch Butters Gaming. I stream on YouTube and Twitch. YouTube is my main channel, and I'm looking for ways to multi-stream on other platforms as well. Maybe Rumble here soon. I got a Kick channel that I cannot seem to get any traction on over there at all. It's really kind of strange, and I'm just looking forward to growing the channel and meeting new people and growing our Discord community. SaltyNerdDiscord.com. is actually, we're still using that Discord for our main gaming community hub. Wow. And it's just we're just having fun, and I'm learning. And Twitch is twitch.tv/Dutch Butters, Kick is Dutch Butters, and YouTube is Dutch Butters Gaming. So it's a little confusing, but just kind of is what it is. So,
well, all of those links are going to be down in the description below, so you can follow there rather easily. And again, I want to say thank you, my friend, for being the very first in this new interview series that I'm starting with the friends and creators that I know that may, be something you're interested in or may help you as a creator out there. So once again, thanks for being here, my friend, and say hi to all the guys.
I will.
All the salty nerds.
Absolutely.
All right. With that, folks, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya. For real.